Hello dear film lovers. Welcome again to FilmHead. Today we will inform you about top survival movies that are related to the death games. Play the game and save yourself by winning the game if you can. Here are top movies that genre available on internet. So let's start. Number 1. As the Gods Will. As the Gods Will is a Japanese supernatural horror film directed by Takashi Miike. It is based on the first arc of the eponymous manga series by Munuki Kaneshiro and Akeji Fujimura. The plot is unpredictable and the story has a steady state. What I mean is that I didn't lose interest in the middle of the movie. The concept seems simple enough. Death games to find the ultimate child of God. Emphasis on death. This director did not hold back on the death. Outside Japan, the movie will draw the expected audience of gore nerds, especially on college campuses, and is likely to see vigorous streaming traffic from the sort of teens who might find themselves muttering, "Dear God, my life is boring," such as the line uttered by Shun Takahata, a willowy twink who soon takes back his words when a Daruma doll starts massacring his classmates in a round of red light, green light. This movie is very great and kinda unique. I really enjoy watching this movie so much that I haven't forgotten it till now, hoping that there will be a part 2. But we strictly do not recommend to somebody under 13 years old as the images and scenes was very gore, bloody, horror, and it is so realistic. Overall, an engaging movie that made me want to find and read the manga. Be careful though. Blood is not something this director is afraid of. There is gore. There are painful, agonizing deaths. But the story is engaging and not something you want to watch for giggles. Number 2. The Maze Runner. The Maze Runner is a 2014 American dystopian science fiction film directed by Wes Ball in his feature directorial debut, based on James Dashner's 2009 novel of the same name. On September 19, 2014, 20th Century Fox released The Maze Runner in the US. Reviews of the movie were favorable, praising Ball's direction, the acting, and the mood of the movie. It was deemed superior by critics than the majority of young adult book-to-film adaptations. The film opens with Thomas, a teenage boy who wakes up in an ascending elevator. He's frantic, and we soon realize why. Thomas has no idea where or even who he is, and he's greeted by a gathering of fellow teenage boys who share the same affliction. Starting your primary character with amnesia is a terrific narrative trick. It makes it possible for the viewer to relate to Thomas right away and discover the laws of the universe with him. It's a simple yet powerful method of drawing your audience in. The story is a fun and thrilling ride, as the rules of the world continue to be challenged by newcomer Thomas. The boys live within the Glade, a spread-out field that lies within the center of a deadly maze that towers over them. The characters Thomas interacts and forms relationships with are unique, rather than placeholders for the most part. You'll likely find them endearing, especially if you enjoy the Lost Boys aesthetic. As the movie goes on, Thomas's curiosity causes the maze's occupants to face further challenges. This comes to a head when, shortly after Thomas, a girl uses the elevator and says, "I'm the last one ever." Number 3. Escape Room. Adam Robital is the director of the 2019 American psychological horror film Escape Room, which was written by Bragi F. Schutt and Maria Melnick. Development of the film began in August 2017. Then under the title The Maze, and the casting process commenced. Filming took place in South Africa in late 2017 through January 2018. Escape Room has a handful of enjoyably bonkers moments, most of which involve nonsensical death traps. But Escape Room is also anemic compared to the Saw movies, as you might imagine based on the film's comparatively weak PG-13 rating. A very cinematic spatial impossibility is conjured up by Robital as he allows the audience to ponder how exactly these rooms are supposed to fit together. The film has a vicious streak of throwaway black comedy. In Escape Room, 6 strangers across a varied range of age groups and walks of life are sent bizarre puzzle boxes, each containing an invitation to participate in a mysterious game. The most prominent aspect of what looked so great with this film was the visuals when it came to production design. The plot was satisfactory at best. However, the rooms themselves were quite ingenious. The end was pretty catastrophic and confusing, and the pacing was very fast. It seemed as if a lot of information was trying to be squeezed into a very short time frame. But if we were to ignore that, it would be a solid watch to get you introduced to this genre. We extremely recommend this balanced horror film fit for anyone at any time. Number 4. Ready or Not. Ready or Not is a 2019 American black comedy horror film directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett and written by Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy. On July 27, 2019, Ready or Not made its theatrical debut at the Fantasia International Film Festival. Fox Searchlight Pictures then distributed the film in theaters nationwide on August 21, 2019. This film does a fantastic job of depicting how people would truly respond in the same circumstance. With You're Next being an exception, many female leads, or leads in general, end up turning into this killing machine at the end with no training at all. This was such a breath of fresh air. Additionally, it's quite funny and makes a lot of social points without forcing them on you. Therefore, if you find that a lot of scares you, this movie will provide you the proper balance. A must-see. Entertaining and tense with comical moments that fit the genre, will make you follow almost all the characters in the film. Also kudos to the slow costume transformation of the bride and the juxtaposition of the prior wedding shots with what happens after, as this helps create a sense of relatability with Grace. The ensemble of characters is simply amazing. Among them, not a single one is boring. Together, they all provide something unique to the movie and elevate it above the rest. This movie somehow successfully pulls off comedy, drama, horror, suspense, and action. It's a delightful out-of-left-field flick that we thoroughly enjoyed. It's fun, it's funny, and it's real messed up. I recommend this if you're after some good silly fun with a bit of good old-fashioned family murder. This one goes on my list as a perfect movie for a Friday night after a huge week of work. Number 5. Cube. Cube is an interesting low-budget sci-fi horror from the 90s. While that low-budget feel is present in Cube, director Vincenzo Natali does a great job of masking it with a variety of clever choices. The primary focus of this movie is on a handful of cube dwellers and their attempt to escape the cube. One by one, 6 people awaken in separate, but connected, cube-shaped rooms with no idea where they are or how they got there. It quickly becomes clear that many of the rooms are equipped with deadly traps which are typically motion-triggered. The prisoners must stick together and use all their wits to stay alive while they desperately try to figure out what's going on. Where are they? Who put them here? And why? Above all, how are they going to survive this never-ending labyrinth of lethal traps? Cube is fantastic. This film was remade by a Japanese director in 2021, with Japanese actors and a new twist that would require a spoiler alert. It's possible that you won't remember to breathe. Cube is the first movie in a short series, Cube 2. Hypercube is the weakest and should be avoided, but Cube 0, the precursor, is shockingly terrific and highly recommended. Cube is a very well-made mind-bending movie which gave birth to movies like Escape Room. Its ending is confusing and also forgettable, but the movie itself is brilliantly made. The movie leaves many questions like how they came in that room. There is some bad dialogue in the movie, but it's covered up by the creepy sounds of the cube and how the camera moves. In all, I recommend this movie to anyone who likes a good suspense-filled time. Number 6. Exam. This is a claustrophobic, futuristic drama with an intriguing premise and a nice satirical jab at reality TV. The movie is nothing but an interview, a peculiar one. This movie is about 8 job candidates face an exam. The final exam that will decide whether they get a job or not. However, the exam is not structured in a conventional way. The question is not clear, and what is required of the candidates is not that they do things, but quite the opposite. The story takes place in what appears to be the United Kingdom, but that doesn't really matter. At the beginning of the movie, we see that 8 people, 4 women and 4 men, of various racial and physical backgrounds enter a room to take an exam that will determine whether or not they will be hired. Candidates will quickly discover that this is not a common exam, and that it will require that each one let out the best and worst of themselves. This movie is full of suspense and drama, and if you're an aficionado of suspense genre, you must watch it. We assure you that your time will be worth. We don't want to give you any spoiler, not even inadvertently, nor do we want this review look like a verbosity. So that's it. Enjoy the movie and have a great day. The Invigilator, a representative of the company named DataPrev, explains that the exam is 80 minutes and consists of only one question, but there are 3 rules. The candidates must not talk to the invigilator or the armed guard at the door, spoil their paper, or leave the room. If they do, they will be disqualified. So it's a masterpiece and one must watch this. Number 7. Battle Royale. Battle Royale, based on a novel by Koshuin Takami and directed by Kinji Fukasaku, a prolific Japanese filmmaker who died in 2003, is shorter, less elaborate, and far bloodier than Gary Ross's adaptation of Suzanne Collins's Hunger Games, and emphasizes pulp and melodrama over political allegory. Excellent, unique, and powerful Japanese action movie Battle Royale conveys several important ideas without sacrificing much of the action or violence. Some films eschew action in favor of conversation to make a point, but Battle Royale manages to make so many subtle points while packing a ton of action. This is something that not many directors accomplish, and it's easily the film's greatest accomplishment. The film is gripping from the very beginning. This is the film that led to creation of the Battle Royale game genre. It has to hold a special place for gamers, but even as a non-gamer, I found myself enjoying its intense action, fast-moving screenplay, and realistic performances. Overall, more clearly, this movie is a group of 9th grade students have to fight a battle on a deserted island with meager amenities. Some students decide to fight it off, while others look for a way to escape from the island. Undoubtedly one of the best action movies of all time. The genius of this movie is not only to portray the violence as the means of achievement in a highly selective environment, but also the subtle application of evolutionary game theory. The plot of the movie goes through several twists and turns as love, jealousy, friendship, distrust, and several other humane elements came across each other in an intense situation in which the life of every individual is dependent. Number 8. Tag. Tag is a 2015 Japanese action horror film directed by Shun Sono and inspired by the title of the novel Ryaru Onagako by Yusuke Yamada. Based on the novel Real Onagako by Yusuke Yamada, which has spawned 6 other films, Tag is another bloodthirsty trip by one of the masters of the category. The movie opens in a way that fans have come to expect from Shun Sono. A bus full of schoolgirls is split in half along with them by what appears to be wind, leaving Mitsuko the only one who survives. For a while, schoolgirls are hacked in too. Eventually, Mitsuko visits a school and is greeted by Aki, though she can't recall who she is. In this way, the narrative progresses, with the protagonist seeing several characters: Keiko, a woman preparing for marriage, and Izumi, a runner, in separate contexts. The remaining films consist of a series of fight scenes intercut with non-stop running and a convoluted narrative. There are some points where Sono seems to try to make a social comment regarding the place of women in society. His effort, though, is swallowed up by all the violence and nonsensicality that permeate the narrative. Tag is a deep commentary about how a woman is perfect but never let the lead role. It subverts the role of a female protagonist who will make her own story on screen and off-screen. It's an hard but amazing movie, and more you think, more you know about storytelling, the better it's became. The feathers gave it away. The ending was surreal. This is an unusual film with questions. Hopefully it's answered, or maybe not, but put in its place at the end. Number 9. Would You Rather? Would You Rather is a horror film in the truest sense, opening up frightening doors in our minds and making us look at parts of ourselves. Would You Rather is written by Stefan Schlachtenhofen and directed by David Guy Levy. What would you do if a millionaire offered you a chance to solve all your life's problems? After the tragic death of her parents, Iris, Brittany Snow, is desperate to make ends meet while caring for her terminally ill younger brother. The plot, whilst unusual, is warm and refreshing. They take simple themes such as torture and sadism and apply them to everyday settings. Most of the characters are very difficult to like, which makes you empathize with no one and ultimately not care about their demises. The idea of using the method of a game to either live or die is crazy but brilliant. They all did such a fantastic job. Seeing John Hurd was great as always. Brittany Snow is a fantastic actress and does not disappoint in this film. The methods of pain in this film are insane but well thought out. It's definitely a bloody film and is not for anyone who is terrified of horror to the max. This film functions on a level most people miss. It's entirely about the battle of self-preservation versus ethics. The psychology behind this movie is a treat. That's all about our today's topic. Thank you all again.